First Contact Incident. Admiral Krellvorn of the Xeraxian Stellar Authority pressed his 6 digits against the command console, his translucent skin pulsing with concerned bioluminescence. The holographic display before him showed something impossible, an unregistered vessel approaching Outpost Zeta 9, deep within Xeraxian-protected space. "Status report," he demanded, his voice echoing through the crystalline command center. "Vessel is approximately 1/4 our size." "Admiral," reported Tactical Officer Mira, her facial ridges flaring with anxiety. "Configuration unknown. Not matching any cataloged species in the Galactic Registry." "Impossible," Krellvorn muttered. The Xeraxian Stellar Authority had mapped and categorized every spacefaring race in this sector over the last 3 millennia. An unknown vessel simply couldn't exist. Run a deep pattern scan. It must be a registered species with modifications. Mira's clawed hands danced across the liquid interface. "Sir, preliminary scans suggest. This can't be right." Her violet eyes widened. "The energy signature appears to be human." A collective hush fell over the bridge. Humans, the bipedal mammals from the insignificant blue planet designated Sol 3. The Xeraxian Authority had placed observation satellites around their world centuries ago, but classified them as a pre-spacefaring civilization, barely worth monitoring. Their last assessment indicated the species had just begun rudimentary exploration of their own solar system, with technology at least 5 centuries away from true interstellar capability. "That's not possible," Krellvorn said, his crest rising in agitation. "Communication. Hail the vessel on all standard frequencies." Communications Officer Telix worked his station frantically. No response. "Admiral, I've tried all established protocols." "Try again," ordered Krellvorn. "Add translator packets for Sol 3 languages." After several tense moments, Telix looked up. "Sir, they're receiving our signals. They simply aren't responding." Krellvorn's skin flashed a dangerous orange. Ignoring hails was a direct violation of galactic protocol. "Tactical assessment," he demanded. Mira's voice trembled slightly. "Admiral, I'm detecting what appear to be weapon systems, primitive by our standards. But if these energy readings are accurate, they're capable of significant damage." "Weapons?" Krellvorn's membrane-like ears flattened against his skull. "That violates at least 4 provisions of the Non-Interference Treaty." He straightened his ceremonial collar. "Magnify visual." The central display zoomed in on the approaching vessel. It was unlike any ship Krellvorn had seen in his 3-century career. The hull was matte black, absorbing light rather than reflecting it. Strange angular protrusions jutted from its surface, and massive cylindrical structures lined its sides. It looked predatory. "Sir," Sensor Officer Drav interjected, "I've cross-referenced with historical records. The design appears consistent with human military aesthetics from their pre-space era, but significantly advanced." "Humans have barely reached their moon," Krellvorn said dismissively. "This must be some other species mimicking human design too." "Admiral," Telix interrupted, "they're hailing us now." Krellvorn smoothed his uniform. On screen, the holographic display flickered, and a human face appeared. Krellvorn recognized the species characteristics from xenobiology briefings. The flat face, the strange fur on top of the head, the disconcertingly small number of eyes. This specimen had dark skin and short cropped hair. "This is Captain Marcus Chen of the Earth vessel Defiant," the human said in perfect galactic standard. "Request permission to proceed through your territory." Krellvorn struggled to maintain his diplomatic composure. "This is Admiral Krellvorn of the Xeraxian Stellar Authority. Your presence here is unauthorized. Humans have not been granted interstellar privileges according to galactic treaty provisions. Furthermore, your vessel appears to be armed, which violates numerous statutes." The human, Captain Chen, smiled. It was an expression Krellvorn recognized as potentially friendly, but there was something unsettling about it. "With respect, Admiral, We didn't ask for permission to travel among the stars, Chen said calmly. As for the weapons, we've learned it's better to be prepared than sorry. Mira leaned close to Krellvorn and whispered, "Their weapon systems just went active, sir. Not targeting us, but ready to fire." Krellvorn maintained his external composure while his inner hearts raced. "Captain Chen, I must insist you power down your weapons immediately. The Authority does not respond well to threats. Neither do humans." "Admiral," Chen replied smoothly, "consider our weapons a precaution, not a threat. We've been watching your Authority for some time. While we appreciate the whole benevolent advanced civilization routine, we've noticed you tend to be more respectful of species that can defend themselves." "Sir," Drav interrupted urgently, "I'm detecting energy fluctuations in the propulsion system. It's nothing like our drives. It appears to be some form of spatial manipulation." Krellvorn glanced at the data and felt his blood cool several degrees. The human ship was using technology that should be far beyond their capabilities. "How did you achieve faster-than-light travel?" Krellvorn demanded, abandoning diplomacy for direct questioning. "Our assessments indicated your species was centuries away from such technology." Captain Chen laughed, the sound both melodious and somehow threatening to Krellvorn's auditory sensors. "Admiral, has it occurred to you that perhaps we didn't want you to know our true capabilities? Your observation satellites were detected the moment they entered our solar system. We've been feeding them exactly what we wanted you to see." The implication sent a tremor through Krellvorn's secondary spine. If the humans had detected and manipulated Zyraxian surveillance, what else might they be capable of? "Sir," Lieutenant Mira said, her voice tight with concern, "2 more vessels just dropped out of whatever form of FTL they're using. Same configuration, same armaments. 3 ships is hardly an invasion force," Krellvorn noted, though he signaled tactical to quietly bring defensive systems to standby. "True," Captain Chen agreed. "Consider this a diplomatic mission with teeth." "With teeth. The Zyraxian Authority does not respond to intimidation, Captain. And humans don't respond well to being treated like lab specimens or primitive curiosities," Chen countered. "We're here to establish our place in the galactic community, Admiral, as equals, not as subjects." Krellvorn felt the weight of this moment. First contact situations were delicate enough without the added complication of unexpected technological advancement and military posturing. His decision now could potentially shape Authority-human relations for generations. "Perhaps we should discuss this further," he offered. "Would you and a small delegation be willing to come aboard my vessel? I promise your safety under the Authority's first contact protocols." "That's very kind. But I have a counter-proposal," Chen said. "Why don't you join us on the Defiant? Our chef has prepared what we believe would be compatible refreshments for Zyraxian physiology." The bridge crew exchanged glances of astonishment. The humans had researched their biology. Before Krellvorn could respond, a new alert sounded. Drav checked his console and looked up with all 3 eyes widened in shock. "Sir, we're receiving transmissions from Authority outposts throughout the sector. Human vessels have been detected at 23 different locations simultaneously. They're everywhere." Krellvorn stared at Captain Chen's composed face on the screen. "This isn't just about safe passage, is it?" "As I said, Admiral, we're establishing our place," Chen replied. "Don't worry, we're not looking for conflict, but we are done hiding. The Zyraxian High Council will never accept this show of force," Krellvorn warned. Chen's expression softened slightly. "It's not a show of force, Admiral. It's a declaration of existence. Your Authority has categorized and contained thousands of species across the galaxy, deciding their fate and future based on your own criteria. We're simply refusing to be categorized." Lieutenant Mira approached Krellvorn with a data tablet. "Sir, intelligence reports coming in suggest that the humans may have been helping themselves to Authority technology over the past several decades. There are records of unexplained losses of research vessels near their solar system." "You've been stealing our technology," Krellvorn accused, crest flaring in outrage. Captain Chen's smile widened. "Admiral, stealing is such an ugly word. We prefer to think of it as accelerated technology transfer. And to be fair, you were the ones who decided to park your fancy ships near our primitive planet. This is an outrage. The authority will what?" Chen interrupted, his friendly demeanor suddenly replaced with steel. "Start a war with a species you know almost nothing about. A species that managed to reverse engineer your technology while you weren't looking. That would be unwise, Admiral." The silence on the bridge was deafening. Krellvorn realized with growing horror that the Authority had catastrophically underestimated this species. Their intelligence, their adaptability, their cunning, all had been dismissed because of their relatively recent evolution and their apparent technological limitations. "What do you want?" Krellvorn finally asked. Chen's expression softened again. "As I said, recognition, respect, and yes, trade agreements would be nice. We have a lot to offer, Admiral. Humanity is quite innovative. And if we refuse, we're not going anywhere," Chen said simply. "We've spent the last 50 years preparing for this moment. We know more about your authority than you'd be comfortable with. We've mapped your territories, studied your strengths and weaknesses. We don't want conflict, but we are prepared for it." Krellvorn felt the weight of galactic history pressing down on his shoulders. His options were limited, his position uncomfortable. But perhaps there was still a diplomatic solution. "I will convey your message to the High Council," he said carefully. "But I must warn you, Captain Chen, threats against the Ziraxian Authority rarely end well for those making them." "This isn't a threat, Admiral," Chen replied. "It's a new reality. The galaxy just got a little more interesting. Now about that meeting. Our chef really has gone to considerable trouble." Krellvorn looked around at his bridge crew, saw the mixture of fear and fascination in their expressions, and made his decision. "Very well, Captain. I accept your invitation, for the sake of peaceful relations." "Excellent." Chen's face brightened. "We'll send coordinates for docking. And Admiral, you might want to bring an open mind. Humans are full of surprises." As the transmission ended, Krellvorn turned to his stunned crew. "Well," he said, his voice deliberately steady, "it seems the galaxy has become considerably more complicated. The reckoning." The Grand Chamber of the Ziraxian High Council had not been convened in emergency session for over 3 centuries. Yet today, all 13 counselors sat in their crystalline thrones, their skin patterns fluctuating between alarm red and fear white as Admiral Krellvorn completed his report. "So," High Counselor Zivrix said, her ancient voice wavering, "these humans have not only developed faster than light travel centuries before our predictions, but they've also reverse-engineered our technology, built a fleet of warships, and now demand recognition as equals." Her skin flashed incredulous purple. "This is unprecedented." "The data is conclusive," Krellvorn replied, standing at rigid attention. "In the 3 days since first contact, we've confirmed human vessels at 37 locations throughout Authority space. They've made no aggressive moves, but they refuse to leave. And you agreed to meet with their representative?" Counselor Nextrell asked, his tone accusatory. "I did," Krellvorn acknowledged. Captain Chen presented himself as reasonable, despite the show of force. "I believed, and still believe, diplomatic engagement is preferable to confrontation, especially given our limited understanding of human capabilities." The council chamber's doors parted, and an aide rushed in, approaching Krellvorn with a data crystal. The Admiral reviewed it quickly, his crest rising in surprise. "Counselors, the human delegation has arrived. They request an audience." Murmurs rippled through the chamber. "Here, at the council itself," Zivrix exclaimed. "The audacity." "I recommend we hear them," Krellvorn said firmly. "If nothing else, it will give us better insight into their intentions." After brief deliberation, the council reluctantly agreed. Minutes later, the grand doors parted again, and the human delegation entered. Captain Marcus Chen led the group, accompanied by 3 others, 2 females and 1 male, all in matching dark uniforms with insignias Krellvorn didn't recognize. High Counselors of the Ziraxian Authority, Chen said, bowing slightly. Thank you for receiving us. May I present Dr. Elena Patel, our Chief Scientist, Commander Jackson Wei, our Fleet Coordinator, and Ambassador Sofia Rodriguez, newly appointed as humanity's representative to galactic affairs. The Council stared in stunned silence at the humans' perfect command of formal Ziraxian diplomatic protocol. High Counselor Zivrix recovered first. Captain Chen, your presence in our space, armed and uninvited, constitutes a serious breach of galactic law. Explain yourselves. Ambassador Rodriguez stepped forward. Unlike the others in their military attire, she wore flowing garments of deep blue that seemed to shimmer in the chamber's crystalline light. With respect, High Counselor, she began, her voice melodious yet commanding. We come before you not as supplicants, but as equals. For 3 centuries, your authority has monitored Earth, categorizing us as primitive, unworthy of contact. During that time, you've lost 17 research vessels near our solar system. Vessels that, I regret to inform you, we captured and studied. Gasps echoed through the chamber. You admit to piracy. Counselor Nextrell exclaimed. We admit to self-defense, Rodriguez countered calmly. Your vessels were in our sovereign territory without permission, studying us like laboratory specimens. We simply returned the favor. Dr. Patil activated a holographic projector, and suddenly the chamber was filled with images of Ziraxian technology, ship schematics, drive systems, weapons platforms, all annotated in human language. We didn't just copy your technology, Patil explained, her eyes bright with intellectual passion. We improved it. The hologram shifted to show comparative schematics, Ziraxian designs alongside human modifications. Even to Krellvorn's experienced eye, the human versions appeared more efficient, more elegant. Impossible, whispered one of the scientific counselors. These improvements would have taken our best minds decades to conceive. Precisely our point, Chen interjected. Humanity's greatest strength isn't our technology. It's our adaptability. While your civilization has remained largely unchanged for millennia, we evolve constantly. We don't fear change. We embrace it. Ambassador Rodriguez gestured, and the hologram shifted again, now showing Earth, not the primitive world the Ziraxians had monitored, but a thriving global civilization with megacities, orbital habitats, and lunar colonies. For 50 years, we've known about your surveillance, Rodriguez continued. We created a facade, a Potemkin planet, if you will, showing you exactly what you expected to see. A slowly developing world of squabbling nations, barely unified, technologically stunted. Behind that facade, we united, we built, we prepared. Why this deception? Asked Zivrix, her tone softer now, almost curious. Your records speak for themselves, Commander Wei answered, his voice deep and resonant. Species categorized as promising by the authority find themselves guided into predetermined roles in your galactic order. Those deemed potentially threatening are subtly hindered, their development channeled into harmless directions. We chose a third option, to develop independently, freed from your influence, until we could meet you as equals. A troubled silence fell over the council. What the humans described was accurate, though few within the authority would admit it publicly. For millennia, the Ziraxians had shaped the development of younger species, always with benevolent intentions, but always maintaining control. And now, Krellvorn asked, breaking the silence, what are your demands? Not demands, Admiral, Rodriguez corrected gently. Proposals. First, recognition of Earth and its colonies as a sovereign interstellar nation. Second, access to galactic trade networks. Third, a seat on the Interspecies Council. Preposterous, exclaimed Nextrell. No species has been granted council representation without at least a millennium of proven stability. Rules created by the authority. For the authority, Chen pointed out. Rules that have kept you comfortable at the top of the galactic hierarchy. But the galaxy is changing, Counselor. You can change with it, or... An urgent signal interrupted him. One of the council aides rushed forward with a priority communication. Zivrix reviewed it, her skin draining to pale gray, the Ziraxian color of profound shock. The Krevlax Collective has breached the outer defensive perimeter, she announced, her voice trembling. 3 high ships have entered authority space. Krelvorn stiffened. The Krevlax, a hive mind species from beyond the galactic rim, had skirmished with the authority for centuries, testing their defenses, probing for weaknesses. Our nearest battle group is 2 days away at maximum speed, one of the military counselors reported grimly. Captain Chen and Commander Wei exchanged glances. The Defiant and 7 other Earth vessels are within range, Chen offered. We could intercept within 3 hours. You would assist us? Zivrix asked, suspicion evident in her tone. Why? Consider it a demonstration of good faith, Rodriguez said, and perhaps a demonstration of what humanity brings to the table. After brief consultation, the Council reluctantly accepted the human offer. Krelvorn volunteered to coordinate with the Earth vessels from his command ship. 12 hours later, Krelvorn stood transfixed before the tactical display as 8 human ships engaged the Krevlax hive ships. The Ziraxian had expected the humans to be quickly overwhelmed. The Krevlax vessels were massive, each the size of a small moon, bristling with biomechanical weapons that had challenged even the authority's most advanced defenses. Instead, he watched in awe as the human vessels moved with impossible agility, their modified drives allowing maneuvers that defied conventional physics. Their weapons, clearly derived from but superior to Ziraxian technology, carved through Krevlax shields that had previously resisted all authority attacks. Remarkable, whispered Mira beside him. Their targeting algorithms must be at least 3 generations beyond ours. When the battle ended 2 hours later, all 3 Krevlax ships had been disabled, their hive minds contained by some form of quantum entanglement field the humans deployed, technology completely unknown to the authority. Captain Chen, Krelvorn transmitted, unable to keep a note of admiration from his voice. The authority owes you a debt of gratitude. Your intervention saved countless lives. Happy to help, Admiral, Chen replied, his image showing signs of battle fatigue but satisfaction. That's what allies do. Allies? Krelvorn asked. A possibility worth considering, don't you think? 3 days later, the Ziraxian High Council convened again, this time with Captain Chen and Ambassador Rodriguez in attendance not as petitioners, but as honored guests. The formal recognition of Earth as a sovereign interstellar nation was signed with ceremonial flourish, along with provisional trade agreements, and most controversially, a pathway to council representation within a decade rather than the traditional millennium. As the ceremony concluded, Krelvorn found himself speaking privately with Chen in one of the council hall's crystalline balconies overlooking the capital city. I must confess, Captain, I still find it difficult to reconcile the Earth we thought we knew with the reality you've presented, Krelvorn admitted. Chen smiled, that same enigmatic expression from their first encounter, though Krelvorn now recognized it as containing genuine warmth rather than threat. Perhaps that's the greatest lesson in all this, Admiral. Reality seldom conforms to our expectations. The universe is full of surprises, some threatening, some wonderful. And humanity, which category do you fall into? Krelvorn asked. Chen laughed. That depends entirely on how you choose to engage with us. As enemies, we're formidable. As allies, we're invaluable. As friends, he extended his hand in the human gesture of friendship. Well, that's a journey of discovery. I think we're both just beginning. After a moment's hesitation, Krelvorn extended his 6-fingered hand and clasped Chen's 5-fingered one. To discovery, then, the Ziraxian said, his skin glowing with the blue of cautious optimism. To discovery, Chen agreed, and to a galaxy that just got a whole lot more interesting. In the distance, a human vessel and a Xerexian cruiser rose together into the gathering dusk, their lights blending as they ascended toward the stars. Different designs, different origins, but for the first time, charting the common course.